Hey, what's up? If you're Italian, you're really not gonna like this video. So consider watching one of my other videos right here or right here, and please spare me the mean comment about what a heathenous American I am. I am that. I know it. For the rest of you guys who like delicious, fun food and don't really care about authenticity, today I'm gonna use a common pantry item that isn't Italian at all to show you how to make a one-pot, 25-minute carbonara that tastes delicious and can easily feed 8 people. To get started, I'll need some pork. Instead of the hard to get and expensive guanciale, which is traditional, for this dish, I like to use smoked bacon. Today, I've got 650 grams or just about 1.5 pounds of very thick cut stuff. To prep this for the pot, I'll take one slab at a time, cut it in half, then cut that half in half, but this time longwise. Then I'll just cut those strips down into squares that are roughly the same size. And once I've got about 650 grams of bacon diced, I'll set it aside and then grab the second part of this dish, cheese. In my carbonara, I prefer 2 cheeses. The first is aged Parmigiano Reggiano. This one is 18 months old. Cheese 2 is the fierce Pecorino Romano. It's salty, it's sheepy, and brings a lot of punchiness to this sauce. If we went with all parm, it would be a very good dish, but it'd be a little bit soft and plain. Now to prep these for the pot, I'll grab my box grater and rip them down on the feather shred side. I go for this feather shred because these hard cheeses can be really fickle when it comes to melting, and this feathery form factor is high surface area. That translates to a quick uniform melt. In total, I'll need 150 grams of Parmesan, and I'll just scoot that into a mixing bowl. Next, I'll just grab my pecorino, feather shred that till I've got 150 grams, then scoot it into the bowl with my parm. Next, into that bowl, I'll crack 3 large eggs, 2 and 3. Then in goes 9 egg yolks. I'll just separate those using my fingers real quick like this. Then I'll save these whites to make my morning eggs less flavorful. And once I've got the eggs and cheese into the bowl, I'll add in 5 to 6 grams of cracked black pepper and then 10 grams of cornstarch. Hold your horses, Giuseppe. Let me explain. Adding in a little cornstarch here helps the egg, cheese, and water mixture stay emulsified and creamy even in the presence of high heat. Since there's no perceivable flavor to cornstarch and the amount that we're using doesn't change the texture, I think it's a great way to make this sauce a little bit more bulletproof for the home cook. Next, it's time to cook this sauce. So I'll grab my 6.5 quart Dutch oven and drop it on the stove over medium heat. Once it's hot, in goes a long squiggle of olive oil, all of my diced thick cut bacon, and then I'll add in about a half cup of water. I'll bring that up to a hard simmer, then cook down until the water is evaporated and the bacon fat is nicely rendered out. And after 5 minutes, the water is sizzled off, and now I've just got bacon fat left behind. From here, I'll fry this bacon in its own fat for 5 to 10 more minutes over medium heat, stirring every minute or so. And once the bacon has taken on this reddish brown color and is starting to crisp up around the edges just a little bit, I'll take this whole pot off the heat and move the bacon along with its fat into a bowl. For this sauce, we want some bacon fat, but not this much. That would make the dish super heavy. So I'll pour off about 2/3 of it, leaving me with about 3 tablespoons in total. And at this point, I've got my cheese, eggs, and bacon all sorted out. So the last thing to do is to prep the pasta. For this dish, I've got 2 pounds of spaghetti. And to prep it for the pot, I'm gonna break it in half. Why am I doing that? Well, this makes the whole one pot method much more possible. Cooking 2 pounds of full-length spaghetti would require a separate large stock pot with a lot more water and a lot more time. Plus, when you're cooking in large batches, like we are today, half noodles are easier to stir and make it easier to cook the sauce properly. Back at the stove, I'll bring my pot back up over high heat, then add in 2,500 grams of water, then come back with a wooden spoon and give the pot a quick scrape down. This is gonna deglaze any of those flavorful brown bacon bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pot. Next, I'll bring the whole thing up to a ripping boil, then add in 10 grams of salt, and then all 2 pounds or 900 grams of my halved spaghetti. I'll just use some tongs here to push that down and make sure that everything is fully submerged. As they soften, that'll become easier. And once everything's swimming, I'll turn my burner down to medium-low, set a timer for 10 minutes, then cover the pot with a lid. While those noodles cook, I'll quickly thank Factor for sponsoring this video. Like most of you guys watching this video, I love to cook and do it pretty much every single day. But for the nights where I didn't make it to the grocery store or the nights where I'm working late and I just don't feel like cooking, Factor has become a friend. Factor's dietitians and chefs work together to create the meals so that you can choose from over 27 weekly options that fit your health goals and, most importantly, taste good. Today, I'm heating up a Factor for lunch because I'm in the middle of filming this video that you're watching right now, and I really don't have anything in the fridge that I can just heat up without making even more of a mess. So it's Factor garlic butter shrimp and cream kale for me today. It's well seasoned, it's well balanced, and the shrimp is surprisingly not rubbery at all for having been nuked in my microwave for 2 minutes. So if you want to try Factor, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Lagerstrom50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. You can scale your order up or down whenever you want, or you could even skip a week. Again, that's factor75.com with code Lagerstrom50 for 50% off. Halfway through cooking, at about the 5-minute mark, these noodles are still submerged. That's good, but I also want to make sure that they're not stuck together. So I'll stir and flip things around and then tuck them back under the water. Lid goes back on and I'll cook for 5 more minutes. After 10 minutes of cook time, it's time to taste the noodle for doneness. Texturally, I'm looking for just past al dente. I don't like crunchy pasta, and this pasta really isn't going to carry over cook. And that's good. It's tender, but not soggy. Now, there should be about 2 to 3 cups of pasta water left behind after the cooking. If your pasta is looking drier than this, no sweat, just add in about a cup or 2 of water to make yours look as wet as mine. Next, I'm gonna ladle about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of this hot cooking liquid right into my egg cheese bowl. Then right away, I'll come back and whisk that up to combine. Adding hot water into the egg mixture tempers it, or warms it up basically, and this allows the cheese and eggs to melt/cook more evenly and more gently once they're in with the noodles. And once we've got the egg cheese slurry made, we'll just pour that over the spaghetti. Then in goes all of the bacon along with the 3 tablespoons of reserved fat. Next, I'll just stir that to combine, but right now I'm not really looking to cook/melt anything. That's gonna happen a lot more accurately over at the stove. As you can see, once things are combined, they're pretty wet because the egg is raw. This is not finished. So I'll move this whole pot back to the stove and fire up my burner to very low. This way I can very gently heat this through and cook the egg/melt the cheese. I'm using tongs to fold the pasta over and to bring the warm stuff up from the bottom of the pot. It should take about 1 to 2 minutes to start to get this mixture steamy and thickened up. And after about 1 to 2 minutes over low heat, this sauce is thickened but not thick. It's saucy, it's creamy, and velvety. Exactly what a carbonara should be. Now to plate this up, I'll drop some creamy, saucy noodles into a bowl. Then to make sure it's bacony enough, I'll top it with 10 to 12 pieces. Then I'll garnish with some grated Parmigiano or Pecorino. Then finally, I'll add a few cranks of fresh cracked black pepper. And there we go, a classic creamy but creamless carbonara. This process is fast, simple, and delivers enough for you and all of your buddies to eat at your next dinner party. Is it authentically Italian? I don't care. It's good tasting food, and I really hope you guys try it soon. And if you want another crowd-pleasing pasta dish, please check out this video for pasta with vodka sauce. It's a ripper. I'll see you there. Let's eat this thing!